thing about my computer is the video will freeze if you don't keep moving the touchpad thing around. Not sure why it does that, but I don't want to reshoot all that, so I'm just gonna continue this anyway. Don't want to get into the whole story of the show, how this came about, but they had to rush and put this show together really quickly back in 1965. The writing, the filming, and everything, and including the music. As I remember the story, Vince Guaraldi had to come up with the music pretty quick, and he did a great bang up job and came up with this classic, beautiful, wonderful Christmas music. And the whole album is good. It's one of my favorite Christmas albums of all time. Another of my favorite Christmas albums of all time, and this had the unfortunate circumstance of being released on November 22nd of 1963. So we all know what happened that day, and probably hurt the sales and airplay on this album. But it's a classic all the way. Christmas Gift from You from Phil Spector. You've got Darlene Love, the Ronettes, the Bobby Sox, the Crystals, and you got White Christmas, Frosty the Snowman, Santa Coming to Town, Marshmallow World, but probably the definitive versions on a bunch of these songs. And this is just Phil Spector's Wall of Sound, the early '60s girl group sound, and just a stunning, beautiful, wonderful, really one of the best Christmas albums of all time, too, up there with the Charlie Brown Christmas. I got two more to go, actually three. So anyone watching my videos knows that I'm not a big fan of music much past 1985 or so, with a few exceptions. And one of those exceptions is Sufjan Stevens, who is kind of hard to classify, but sort of a folk artist. He's a current. He started making music albums in, I guess, the 90s, and is still active. But he's more than a folk artist because he does all sorts of electronic and rock and folk and however you want to describe him. He's just sort of everything. So these, and I'll show you the other set here in a second. This is his first set, and never came out on vinyl, I don't think, just on CD. And there is a 5 CDs in here, I believe, and yes, volume 1 through 5. Neat little box set of Christmas CDs. These were not originally meant for commercial release. This was just, he's one of those people like Paul McCartney or Prince or Jimi Hendrix, I guess, that just sort of recording and writing and playing around in the studio with music constantly. A lot of that stuff is just for his own fun, more than looking at stuff to release to the public. And these Christmas CDs originally were just CDRs that he put together as gifts, Christmas gifts for his family and friends. And eventually I don't know if he realized or if people told him that, hey, this stuff's really good, you ought to put it out commercially. So eventually he did, and that's where this came from. 5 CD set. It's got this is chock full of a booklet and a poster and stickers and all sorts of cool stuff inside the packaging along with the CDs. It's got a really cool Christmas story about when he was a kid and getting tube socks for Christmas and a family argument. The tube socks end up in the fireplace and all sorts of fun stuff. But it's the music that counts. And there is 5 discs, and I don't know, there's something like 50, 60 songs. I didn't count them up. But there's a lot of the things that, you know, Angels We Have Heard on High, Silent Night, so forth. A lot of songs that he wrote that are original Christmas songs, and a lot of just sort of obscure Christmas songs. Some of this stuff can get a little samey, but there's all sorts of variety, enough variety to keep it interesting. And there's some just soaring, stunning versions of some of the songs here, some of the, like I said, well-known Christmas songs, and some of the things that or originals or things you've never heard before. This first version, like I said, some of it sounds a little bit samey, so it's hard to get through parts of it, but it's cherry pick, and there's a lot of gems on here. So that was the first one. And then several years later, this came out, don't know, about 3-4 years ago, maybe about 5 years ago now. This is the second volume. This is volume 6 through 10, and this did come out on vinyl in a box set. It came out on CD too. I think the vinyl set is out of print now. That's what I have here. This is an incredible box set. I think CD set, like I said, is still available. It's got just a. This is better than the first one, and the first set is really actually very good. But this tops it, and this is just full of. It's got coloring book and stickers and posters and books, and it's got the 5 albums, one of them being a double album, and so you get again Santa Claus is coming to town and songs like that. Then you get a whole lot of songs that he wrote, the Christmas Unicorn, and I don't know, go through some of the titles here. Christmas Unicorn, there that is. Happy Karma Christmas. Does a cover of Alphabet Street by Prince, which doesn't really, not sure what that has to do with Christmas, but it's very interesting. Even the Earth Will Perish and the Universe Give Way, that's one of his originals, cheery title. The Child with the Star on His Head, Christmas Infinity Voyage, which that's sort of a weird, looks like a Transformers one, a Christmas cover. Just a wide range of genres here, from traditional folk to traditional just pop and rock to electronic to experimental music, and a lot of the music doesn't sound Christmassy at all, but it still sounds really good, and it's an album that's sort of tempting to play outside of the Christmas season, just because there's a lot of just really incredible music to delve into. And this album is sort of kind of like the White Album or Sandinista by the Clash, where there's just so much here. And with this, where each set has 5 CDs or 5 albums, that's even more so. But some of it's better than others. Some of it's incredible. Some of it's but it's worth diving into this set. And there's a lot of stuff in there that a lot of it sounds traditional, very Christmassy. A lot of it doesn't. But it's a journey worth taking, and those are both worth checking out. And I don't think this is still available. I know on CD, obviously. I don't think it costs that much, and the other set is still available too, only on CD as far as I know. The vinyl being sold out, but I don't think it's that expensive for the CD set. So it's very much worth checking out, and the extras and the goodies make it all more fun and Christmassy. And my last Christmas album I'm going to show, I always gotta have this. It's not Christmas till you hear the Beatles' Christmas messages, and so here is my copy. Sadly, not the original. This is a what you call it, counterfeit album on green vinyl. And I also have the box set that came out a year or 2 ago with all the 45s on colored vinyl. But yeah, that's fun. The only drawback to that is Christmas Time Is Here Again song on one of the messages there. I love the song, but I wish they would have taken the time, a little bit more time, to turn that into a proper Christmas song and release that commercially, because that could have been a Beatles Christmas classic. It sort of already is already, but it's a little repetitive, even though it's a great song. And if they would have just, they're probably rushed or whatever, but if they would have spent a little more time, added some more lyrics and stuff to it, that could have been, the Beatles could have written one of the all-time classic Christmas songs. Of course, John would do that later with Happy Christmas, War Is Over, and Paul, well, I won't get into that, but always got to hear the Beatles Christmas album. And so there you go. I know it's late. I should have done this 2 weeks ago or a week ago, but maybe for next Christmas you can keep these records in mind. And if you're just hanging around today, go around, look up on YouTube, and look up some of the albums that I showed and some of the songs from the earlier video of my favorite Christmas songs. Happy Crimble, Happy Christmas, Happy New Year.